You're watching Iowa Live on CW Iowa 23.
Good morning, everybody. You're watching the Merkle Retirement Minute, giving you some great advice as you're looking towards what to do with your money as you get ever so closer to retirement, and some amazing opportunity and options for you out there. So, of course, we have Loren Merkle joining us from Merkle Retirement Planning. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me.
There's a lot of things we can do with our money when we get to retirement, and then eventually when we're gone. And we're talking about charitable giving today. Why is this such an important topic when we're looking at the ultimate plan?
Well, this is the season for giving, after all.
That's true. Yes, it is.
And Iowans are some of the most charitable. But coming off the heels of the 2008 tax reform, or 2018 tax reform, we don't have as many tax incentives to give as what we once did prior to 2018.
Yes.
So there's a lot of charities out there that have been very concerned. But we still like to give. And we are still giving, so let's figure out some ways we can accomplish our giving goals but still receive some tax incentives. And so there's a couple different strategies we're going to talk about today. One is if you're 70 and a half and older, and then one if you're at least 21 and older.
Oh, so you're helping us all.
We're going to help us all.
Okay.
Very nice.
Because we all still want to give.
Yes.
But let's get some tax incentives along the way if we can.
So let's get back to that tax
Maximize the
incentive,
effort.
because that's I love giving to charity, but and yes, it is nice to have that tax incentive. That's not the main reason I give, but when
Right.
you're talking taxes and you're like, wait a minute, it doesn't count anymore unless I give a certain amount. How is that working into what we're going in with the end of 2019 around the corner?
Yeah, we pay so much in taxes anyway, but we still want to give, so let's give and then still get some tax incentives. The best tax saving strategies, oftentimes you have to do by the end of 12/31.
Right.
So a lot of times we think about taxes, we have up until April the following year to implement some tax saving strategies. But the best ones you have to do by the end of the year. So the first one, if you're above 70 and a half and above, it's called a qualified charitable distribution. Now, most retirees, most people 70 and a half above, the majority of their wealth is in IRAs, pre-tax IRAs or pre-tax 401k plans. When you take that money out, you have to pay taxes at your ordinary income level when you take it out.
Correct.
At 70 and a half, Uncle Sam mandates for them to take it out. So regardless of whether or not they want to, they have to start taking a minimum amount out and pay taxes on it. Now, if you're already contributing to a charitable organization, let's say your church.
Right.
Let's say you're contributing $200 a month to your church. Well, you're just doing cash or check, but you're mandated to take these distributions from your IRA.
Anyway.
Why not do the qualified charitable distribution of the $2,400? You don't have to pay any taxes on that whatsoever. It helps to suffice what you're mandated to take out of the IRA for Uncle Sam purposes, and the church still gets the donation.
And you don't have to pay taxes.
You don't
on
have
that.
to pay taxes on it. So it's a tax-free donation from you. The church, of course, doesn't have to pay taxes on it. You self-satisfied what you're trying to do from a charitable standpoint and what you have to take out from the IRA.
So how would you set something like that up to make sure that the government knows it's going to a charitable organization, you're not paying taxes, and also it's set up so it goes to the proper charity?
Work with your advisor.
Okay.
If you don't have an advisor, then work with the custodian where your IRA is at. So if it's at Vanguard, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, work directly with them. So because the catch is that money cannot go to your bank account first. It has to be made payable to that charity.
Okay.
Now, you can receive the physical check, but on the check, it just has to be made out to the charity. And then you can deliver it to the charity, or you can have the check mailed to the charity. It just cannot go to your bank account first.
Are there things that we need to take into consideration in regards to what a qualifying charity is?
501(c)(3).
That's it.
They have to make sure, and they're learning more and more. I feel like that they have to get that requirement.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be registered as a charity.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's if you're 70 plus.
70 plus.
You said you're going to help out the rest of us.
All right, so
here.
here's for the rest of us. And this strategy is pretty cool because in essence, this is a way that you can create your own private foundation. How cool is that? So you got the Michelle Brown Private Foundation.
I like it.
I like that. I like the sounds of that.
Good sound.
So this is called the Donor Advised Fund, or DAF, which means that you can contribute to this fund. It's irrevocable. So once it goes into this fund, you can't take it out except for it to go to a qualified charity. Make the donation, and you can gift it then at any point down the road you want to. So you give the money to your private foundation, you receive the tax deduction for that gift, and you invest it. You can invest it and allow it to continue to compound, allow it to continue to grow. nearly indefinitely.
So it doesn't all then have to get donated to the charity right away.
At one time.
At one time.
So you still get the tax deduction this year, but you can let it grow for the next 5 years, the next 10 years. So let's say this year you gave $5,000 to your private foundation, your DAF. So do
you have to set up the 501c?
You have to set it up.
Okay.
No, you don't have to set up the charity.
Okay.
So it's much easier than your own private foundation because you don't have to jump through the hoops of setting up a private foundation. You just gift it to the donor advised fund, which is pretty easy to set up through a custodian like Fidelity, Schwab, or Vanguard.
Okay.
And let's say you give $5,000 this year, you don't have to actually gift to the charity this year. You're giving to the foundation to receive the tax deduction, and then you can allow it to grow. So next year, of the $5,000 you gave this year, you might give to a charity $1,000 of it. Let the next $4,000 continue to grow, right? It can just continue to build and build and build and build if you want it to. Now, certainly, if you want to give the full $5,000 to a charity this year, you can. Or you can dole it out to multiple charities. 1,000 to this one, 1,000 to this one, 1,000 to this one.
Is there a minimum to start up?
It's based on a custodian.
Okay.
So the custodian does have a minimum. Usually they're relatively small.
Okay. All right. So opportunities all around.
Smart.
It is smart.
That is smart.
You always wonder how people can always, because as people who love to give, Iowans who love to give, we usually open up our wallet and do what we can. But it's like when you see some big donations, you kind of wonder, it's like, how do they do that? Yeah. And there's a smart business way of doing it while saving yourself some taxes on the other end.
Well, and with that DAF, it doesn't have to be cash. So you can donate appreciated stock. You can donate real estate. You can donate other property. There's a lot of different things that you can donate to help get that fund established. But the thing is, you have to do it by 12/31 for this year's benefit.
This year.
For
and
this
as
year's
we're all
benefit.
thinking end of the year giving is why we're mentioning it here. And it's also good to get a planner that can kind of get that in place for you as you're thinking about your ultimate plan, what's happening there. Really quickly, if your ultimate plan is after you're gone, you want to donate to a charitable entity, is that possible as well?
Yeah, most definitely. And there's a lot of strategies that you can use to incorporate that. If you really want to leverage your resources, a lot of people donate life insurance. So you pass away, you have a charity as one of your beneficiaries or your beneficiary, and that's how a lot of these assets really blossom.
Yeah.
As people pass away, they pass on large sums through life insurance.
Okay,
And I
so
know we're
options
focused
all
on
around.
kind of end of year, of course, everybody's, but these are things we should really be thinking about and kind of planning for throughout the year.
Most definitely. We don't wait until November or December to talk
make
about
these.
We're talking about these types of things because it's planning.
Yeah.
We're talking about these types of things all year around. So right now, we're talking about next year's giving strategies.
Absolutely. But it's smart. If you're one of those that likes to give, especially towards before that December 31st date hits, you can be smart with your money in amazing ways if you have an incredible planner to put it in place with ways maybe you didn't always think about.
I would definitely recommend talking to a qualified retirement planner or CPA before you implement these types of strategies, just to make sure you're getting the biggest bang for your buck and making sure that the charity receives the money the right way.
Absolutely. I love it. Okay, so let's say you're the expert here, Loren. How can we get in touch with you just so we can start this conversation?
Go to merkleretirementplanning.com. You'll see a lot of information about different classes that we teach where we talk about these types of strategies, or if you just want to call us, that's fine too.
And let's talk about those passport classes. They are filling up, sir, and they're becoming more specialized for every single one.
Yeah, we're changing the classes a little bit to make them more specialized. We have one of our last passport classes that we're going to teach this year. It's in Pella tomorrow. The capacity, we have about 70 people that are going to that class. We have waiting lists for most of the classes, which is pretty cool. And that's why next year we're going to divvy it up. So we're going to have a class. If you haven't retired yet, we call that the pre-retirement phase.
Right.
So if you're 55 to 65, haven't retired, this class would be for you. If you've already retired, we're going to talk about in our retirement class specific strategies you might want to focus on in retirement. And then we also have a women in retirement class taught by two of our best women retirement planners. This focuses just on stuff that women have to encounter, like longevity risk, because women on average live longer than men, and it's that last 3 to 5 years of life where most of that cost comes into play, usually because of increased healthcare costs. Yeah. So there's a lot of different classes that we have specific to which particular phase of life that you're in.
I love it. So
Something
don't
for
wait
everybody.
because those passport classes are filling up
Yes.
really quick. But I also love hearing that it's never too late to get that conversation started. But if you want that conversation to start now, set up a private appointment. You can do that. Go visit them online, merkleretirementplanning.com, or just give them a call, 515-278-4110. Loren, always great to see you.
Thank you so much
sir.
for having me. Thank
All
you.
right.
Information.
Tis the season of giving. Just make sure you're doing it in a financially
way.
smart way. You're watching